She loses respect for you the moment you start explaining yourself. This video exposes the Stoic habit 99% of men ignore, the quiet behavior women secretly crave but never admit. You will see why this habit shifts female psychology, flips relationship power dynamics, and restores your value as a man. Most men chase emotional validation, thinking it builds connection. In truth, it signals weakness. Stoic detachment is not about coldness. It is emotional control sharpened into quiet strength. It shows her you can feel without being ruled. You will learn how emotional discipline and stillness draw more desire than effort ever will. Women read composure as safety and safety as dominance. This habit is rare, but it changes everything. The question is simple. When she tests your calm, will you prove her right or break again trying to prove your worth? Point number 1, emotional exposure. What are you proving when you scroll your thumb over a message at 2 a.m. and send it anyway? Picture the phone on your nightstand. You wake, the screen is bright. Her last scene says nothing. You type, delete, type again. The gym mirror shows the same face you hid from your friends. On the table, custody papers wait. You feel like everything demands an explanation you do not have. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength, Marcus wrote. He meant the part you always skip, not the thought. The action that follows. In Rome, a man kept steady while the world burned. He measured steps. He kept his place. Back then, the test was a battlefield. Today, it is a late-night silence. The practice is unchanged. The arena shifts. You still stand before a verdict you cannot control. Think of a simple moment. She leaves the room without a fight. She lets the call go to voicemail. Most men run toward noise. They fill the gap. They explain. They apologize without being asked. That rush tells more than words. It tells her where she sits on your list. It tells you who you are when no one watches. So what do you do when the mirror shows doubt? You stop performing. You stop arguing your case. You let one action speak. You hold the line you always promised yourself. You show up in steady ways. You do the small things that do not seek praise. You let the absence of reaction reveal the truth about the bond. Train your silence. When she pulls away, do you crumble or do you hold the border you set? Next, we will break down the first test she gives without words and the tiny habitual move that rewires how she reads you. Learn that move, and you stop being a plea for attention. Point number 2, recognition of the test. What are you testing for when you answer every pause with a flurry of words? The phone buzzes at 2 a.m. You see a missed call and a short message with a cold line. You rehearse explanations in the mirror at the gym. You scroll the custody papers and imagine the worst. You tell yourself you must fix it now. You do not. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality, Seneca taught. He meant your story before the facts. That short replay in your head is the test you fail. In the forum of his day, a man faced accusation and remained measured. He did not race to justify. He kept to his tasks and let outcomes fall where they would. Today the accusation looks like a late text, a withdrawn hand, a sudden quiet. The format changed. The pressure did not. You will be tempted to fill the silence with proof. You will offer reasons, timestamps, promises, and explanations. You will trade presence for apology. She is not asking for a lecture. She is watching for the steadiness behind the words. Your immediate move tells her where she stands in your life. Your rush to explain speaks louder than any argument. Remember a simple scene, an empty bed, a kettle that whistles. You stare at the phone like it holds your answer. Most men act as if a reply will secure loyalty. They do not see that the gesture they make dissolves it. Do not be one of them. Do not hand away the quiet that proves you keep your center. Hold the line. When the probe comes, will you prove their doubt true by crumbling? Or will you confirm your own standard by staying silent? Next, we will map the exact first test she sends without words. You will learn the tiny, repeatable move that turns her curiosity into leaning and stops you from begging for proof. Point number 3, the masculine trap. When did you start believing that chasing her approval would make you feel safe? You tell yourself it's love. But look closer. You check your phone before sleep. You edit your words to keep her calm. You rehearse your tone so you don't sound too cold. It is not love. It is fear disguised as care. You build a cage, then call it connection. Epictetus said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. That line cuts the illusion. You keep trying to look composed, while your worth bends to her reactions. A Stoic man does not chase control through performance. He reclaims it by not needing validation. In the ancient world, a soldier's test was battle. Today, it's emotional negotiation. You still bleed, only quieter. You trade freedom for a temporary nod of approval. You text back fast, buy her peace with compliance and call it maturity. That cycle drains your strength. It teaches her your boundaries are flexible. Every time you over-explain or soften your truth to avoid rejection, you confirm her power over your center. You want to lead, yet you follow the emotions you're afraid to lose. That's the masculine trap, mistaking acceptance for respect. Real respect grows in the space you protect. It grows in the pauses where you don't rush to please. It grows in how you act when she tests your calm. So step back. Breathe once before you respond. Stop selling yourself in small doses just to keep her near. Let discomfort train your strength instead of your panic. Hold your ground. When everything in you wants to fix it, will you stay steady enough to let truth work without interference? Next, we face detachment as clarity. The moment you learn that walking away can speak louder than staying, and calm can cut deeper than any argument. Point number 4, detachment as clarity. When was the last time you sat in silence and didn't reach for your phone? Most men can't. The space between texts feels like rejection. The quiet becomes a mirror that shows every hidden insecurity. You start to wonder if she's lost interest. If you said the wrong thing, if you need to fix it, that impulse is the addiction. You think connection means constant access. It doesn't. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That is detachment. Not distance, not coldness. Control over reaction. He ruled an empire while storms hit from all sides, and still said, "Be like the rock that the waves crash over." Now imagine your version. You open your phone and see her story with someone else. You feel the pull. Every nerve wants to check, compare, explain. You don't. You let the wave hit and recede. That pause, one simple pause, is the difference between men who beg and men who lead. Detachment is not apathy. It is clarity sharpened by discipline. It strips away stories. It reveals what's real and what's fear. When you stop reacting, you see who respects your silence and who needs your chaos to feel alive. In modern life, power hides in restraint. You gain control when you stop chasing every signal. You start to see patterns you missed, the small manipulations, the guilt tactics, the emotional trades. You realize she never needed constant reassurance. She needed to see that you could stand still when tested. Detached to see, detached to know, detached to lead. Hold your center. When silence arrives again, will you reach for control or let clarity expose the truth? Next comes the slow decay, how reaction bleeds value, how every emotional slip costs respect, and how you rebuild what quiet confidence once gave you. Point number 5, loss of value through reaction. Why do you think explaining yourself faster will make her respect you more? You feel her tone change. A short reply, a sigh, an unread message. Your chest tightens. You rush to fix it before it breaks. That's the moment you lose the quiet power you spent months building. It's not her words that break you. It's your reaction to them. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Freedom begins when you stop reacting to every shift in her mood. The man who cannot sit with discomfort becomes her mirror, not her anchor. Picture it. A man stands in his kitchen, phone in hand, replaying her last text. He types long explanations, deleting each one before sending. He wants peace, but his actions scream fear. Every overreaction tells her he values harmony more than truth. Every attempt to fix her emotions tells her she leads the frame. In ancient times, men were measured by how they faced chaos. Now chaos comes through the small screen. Every test is quieter, but the cost is the same: respect. When you react, you surrender ground. When you hold, you command it. Reaction leaks your value drop by drop. It tells her your self-worth is conditional. It tells the world your emotions can be bought with attention. You become predictable, and predictability kills attraction. The man who keeps his tone steady, who answers late but clear, radiates control. He shows that he governs himself before he governs anyone else. That calm doesn't come from pride, it comes from training. It comes from failing once and deciding never to hand away power again. Still your breath. When the test hits, will you defend your worth through noise or prove it through silence? Next, we return to the roots, the discipline of the ancients, how they forged stillness into armor, and how that same discipline builds unbreakable presence in a modern man. Point number 6. Ancient discipline in modern war. What part of you thinks ritual and routine belong only to men on battlefields? You wake before dawn. The gym lights buzz. You lace up and look into the mirror. You see a man who keeps appointments, who pays bills, who signs custody forms at noon. Later, the same hands scroll messages at night, searching for proof she still cares. You live in two worlds at once. One requires a steady step. The other demands constant proof. It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters, Epictetus wrote. That line flips the moment. It points to the part of you that chooses movement over panic. In a camp long ago, men rose at first light and sharpened their tools. They trained for scarcity and surprise. Their discipline was a map for survival. The map did not change when cities rose or when phones arrived in pockets. The threats did. The method did not. A measured day still outlasts a frantic hour. Picture the modern front, a custody hearing that lasts 6 hours, a text that reads like accusation. You can walk out and let the day decide, or you can rush to smooth the outrage with charm. One choice is a steady ledger. The other is a line of credit you cannot repay. You have habitual motions. Some build your life up, some hollow it out. Think of the man who makes his bed the same way every morning. He does not do it for show. He does it to prove to himself he can finish a small task. Those small victories stack. They become light where chaos finds you. When a crisis comes, you do not collapse into explanation. You move in the same way you have moved for years. Train the small ritual. Guard your daily margin. Keep appointments like vows. Let the routine harden your backbone so storms find only a steady line. Practice the work that proves to you who you are before anyone else tells you. Build the habit. When the night threatens your nerves, will you act out of old panic, or will you follow the map you forged? Next, we will expose the daily practice that makes quiet strength visible. Learn it and you stop reacting. You start ruling the small moments that decide everything. Point number 7. Power through stillness. When did silence start feeling like weakness to you? You think speaking first shows control. You fill every gap with logic, reassurance, or apology. You call it clarity, but it's noise that hides fear. Stillness, the kind that holds its ground, terrifies you because it shows what's real. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Stillness is that revenge. It is the choice to stay composed when chaos tries to drag you down. It is not surrender. It is restraint sharpened into presence. Picture this. She argues, her tone sharp, her eyes testing for reaction. You breathe once, slow and full. You don't rush to win or explain. You let the silence hang heavy until truth separates from impulse. That's power. Not the kind that shouts, but the kind that steadies. In ancient courts, a man who stayed silent during judgment carried more authority than the one who begged for mercy. He knew his value did not depend on noise. Today, your version happens in texts, in boardrooms, in the quiet after conflict. Every moment you choose calm over chaos, you reclaim a piece of yourself. Stillness cuts through manipulation. It disarms emotional warfare. It teaches her and the world that your peace is not negotiable. When you master that pause, people adjust to your rhythm. They feel your composure before you speak. Hold the silence until it bends to you. Let them reveal their truth while you stand unshaken. Train your stillness. When the storm comes again, will you let noise decide your worth? Or will you sit in calm and make the room move around you? This is where emotional mastery begins, the final turn where words end. Presence leads, and your silence becomes the loudest signal in the room. You made it to the end, and that says something about you. Most men scroll past lessons that demand reflection, but you stayed. You listened. You thought. That's rare. Today was about stillness, not silence. You saw how emotional control, calm under pressure, and detachment create power that doesn't shout. You learned that every test, every pause, every silence is a chance to show who you really are. Not to her, but to yourself. If something here hit you, let it stay with you for a while. Apply it quietly. Watch how your world shifts when you stop chasing and start standing still. Thank you for spending your time here. This channel is built for men who think deeper, who want strength without noise, and who are done pretending they don't feel the weight of it all. You're part of that circle now. If this spoke to you, subscribe and leave a like. Not for numbers, but to help build a space where calm replaces confusion. Share your thoughts or stories below. I read everyone. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.